If we could, at this time, have roll call.
Lively. High School. Here. Van Zant.
Here.
Hopper. Here. Webb.
Here. Okay. We have a quorum. And moving on to the consent agenda. Does anybody wish to remove anything from the consent agenda before we group it together and pass it?
I'd make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'd like to second that motion. If we could go ahead and approve items 1 through 9, or is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Question on the through 9, does that include 9, and if so, the dates that are listed on the agenda are 3XXX 2023, should they not have an actual date for us to be able to approve? Can we override? Do you see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
Thank you.
Okay, so maybe we,
Also, on 4, I did not see the actual quote-unquote February 2023 claims. The 2023 estimated claims were present, so if we have to remove them, can we just move that out and then table part of it, or can we approve half?
so
We need to make a new motion.
That's why I'm asking. Those are things, and also, oh, go ahead, do
And-
your thing.
I'm looking, I thought I saw the claims, maybe I missed the, let me look.
Again, if you were to go to the pages,
Mhm.
and it starts,
Is it in your packet, Carson? The claims?
So I can click on it, hang on.
item number 4 starts in our package on page 29, page 1 of 4, and then there is no more page,
Yeah,
item 4.
she's correct, the claims themselves aren't there.
So again, question is, half of it we have, half of it not. Do we need to remove that item
Yeah, I
of
think-
our quote consent agenda since we can't approve as it is presented?
So I would revise my motion to omit item 4 and item 9 from the consent agenda.
I'd like to second that motion. If we could call for a vote to approve items 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and 8.
High School.
Yes.
Van Zant.
Yes.
Hopper. Yes. Webb.
Yes.
Okay. On items 4 and 9, I'd like to make a motion that we table those till we can have full data.
Well, I would,
Can we amend it?
well, we got we have a second first, and then we can discuss.
Oh, okay.
I'll second that so we can discuss.
That sounds great.
I think we table item number 4. I think we can, with regards to item number 9, if they have dates, I think we can amend that. I mean, we just make we make a motion reading it out with the amended.
Okay.
Do we have dates for that?
Not right now, no.
We don't, that's the
Okay.
issue.
So then I think we table that as well.
Agreed. Okay.
So we need a vote.
Do we need to vote to table it, or?
No, we can table 4 and 9. We don't have to
Vote.
vote.
Okay, perfect. Item number 10, financial reports.
Sorry. All right, hello, this is Tate. I apologize. He decided it was Bring Your Child to Work Day. So please enjoy this adorable cuteness overload while I go over the February financials. So the overall hospital financials for February had cash receipts of 1.5 million, disbursements of 1.8 million. Our average daily census was almost 15. So we are just hitting it out of the park. Now, but I'd like to just pause here for a second and just kind of discuss what that means for the hospital. So higher census means more revenue, more cash collections, but we also have to start monitoring a possible Medicare payable, means we've been overpaid. So our response to that we've already implemented this month has been to establish a cash reserve, because at the end of the day, our goal is to prevent any more ERS debt for the hospital.
Yeah.
So just wanted to bring awareness to this possibility.
Why the increase of the, going up to 15? Is there a certain number that's
Oh,
when
that's just that's what the hospital is at. We've had so many patient days.
So I understand that, but,
Oh,
so
yes.
you said the Medicaid for overpayment. So is there a
Yes.
certain
Mhm.
average stay that we look
Our
at?
target's 11.
Okay.
And as comparison to last year, we ended at 9.85, I believe. And so for January and February, we've been way above like 13, 14, 15. Where our expenses have stayed pretty much level at 1.4 million a month. And when that happens, Medicare starts looking at it going, well, you're cost-based reimbursed, so we're not gonna pay you more than the cost you're incurring, essentially. You're fine.
So that average day stay should be
As
around,
it goes up, yes, as it goes up, if your expenses do not increase relative to that, then you start to potentially incur a payable, which it's standard. I mean, obviously, you have an influx of patients, I mean,
is there a tipping point, is what I'm trying to find?
You mean goals?
No.
To hit?
So typically, so I understand, more patients, you increase, but you
If you're-
flatline.
yep, on the
What
expenses.
point do you flatline? Where does that increase in patient stay and the flatline meet? Is there a certain patient day, like 11 point whatever, that it ends up intersecting with the actual debt?
yeah, essentially. So our trend, consider it like 1.4 million expenses.
Okay.
11, and once it starts to creep up past that, that's when we start going, okay, we need to keep our eyes on potentially
Okay.
having an overpayment. Yes.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
At what point does it become cost prohibitive for us to have that many patients in the hospital at one time?
Let me how I put this. So, our rate right now is based on basically incurring more expenses as our ADC kind of dropped.
Yeah.
So, we've established a higher rate, but as your rate goes up, not your rate, as your average daily census goes up, I'm so sorry.
No,
You're
you're
fine.
fine. I've
We're
got
all
kids. I
parents.
think we all have
Yeah.
kids, so
Good.
we're all used to this, so it's totally
We're
fine.
good with little.
So as that happens though, you have interim rate reviews, I'm sorry, I'm trying to not to get too detailed,
No,
but
yeah.
essentially you've established a fixed cost for so long of a period.
Yeah,
So as it goes back up, you're still getting paid the cost, you are getting paid for having less days.
okay,
Cause think about it, your costs have stayed
Yeah.
at this 1.4 million.
yeah,
So as you start to go up on the ADC and your costs stay the same, your Medicare is looking at you going, you're getting overpaid because we established that rate that we're currently paying you when you had less days.
yeah, okay.
Because it's a rebate program, ultimately. We get kind of paid for not being able to make it exactly how we need it to be. I know, you're wrinkling, I understand.
No.
But that is
But for
what
me,
it's
I was
really-
trying to understand where
Yes.
that line intersected so that
Yes.
that was the
And
most
it's
cost
not-
effective.
And it's not like an absolute line.
Right.
It fluctuates. It's like, I call it kind of a seesaw. It's a balancing act. But it's one of the things that we monitor constantly. And so just as response to that is where we've implemented the cash reserve. Cause we
So we don't
recognize
end
we're
up
being
back in-
overpaid.
yeah.
I'd like to add something to that. To those of us who've been on this board, this cost report program is so intricate. It's like its own subject within itself. And to those that are not aware of it, Cohesive has had some changes on the upper part of their corporate side of the house. And the changes that I've been observing from afar just on their website have primarily occurred in the financial sector of having added what I would consider specialists specifically in that field of cost report and all this, because it seems to be a continuous having to play with all these numbers and, you know, all the rules, regulations, and the changes within and negotiating while still paying off all of our other stuff and not getting, like Ron, you just said, when is it the point where we're making too much where we're not being able to get or sustain? So again, thank you for those changes, because that has helped us to pay off those big things.
Thank you. Okay, does that answer? Okay, perfect, great. So to continue, net patient revenues for the month came out to 1.3 million. Of that, 340B revenues were approximately 12,000. And then operating expenses totaled slightly over 1.4 million, bringing the month closed at a loss of 139,000. And then to jump over to the RHC estimated financials, they reflect the year-to-date visits of 265. This comes out to just shy of 6.5 visits a day. Net revenues came out to 73,000, and keep in mind this is year-to-date. Expenses of 150,000, netting to a $76,000 year-to-date loss. And that wraps up my financial summary. Does anyone have any other questions?
Is there, my apologies, I may be really behind the bar here, but I'm not finding any of these financials.
I did not.
Were they
In the
added
packet.
later onto our packs?
I didn't get it until late.
Okay, all right,
Okay.
all right.
I kept going through, but I didn't see it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still not seeing it on there, and, I really like to see them.
I have.
What do you want me to, you want me to print something up?
If there's any, like, way, I mean, I could get it tomorrow, whenever,
No,
but,
we could pause for a moment. We could take a 5-minute sideline and print it so we will all have it in hand.
or if we could upload it after the fact.
Let's take a side moment for 5 minutes, get them printed, this way we all have them in hand. And
Yeah.
we're proper.
If that's, I mean,
I
I
have
really.
one copy, if that helps.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
I don't know that we need to stop anything to, I mean, that's something we can get at unless somebody's,
I mean, we can move on, and I can be
Okay.
reviewing them while we
that works.
move on, if that's okay with you all, I mean.
Good.
Okay. Moving on to item number 11, discussion and possible action to approve the general liability policy. Here, I'll grab that from you.
Goodness.
You want me to go make the copies?
No, it's okay.
So I'll be presenting this item. So all of the hospital's insurance policies, they expire on April 21st. So we've been working with the hospital's agent, who is with Oklahoma Hospital Association, on all of the renewals. So in relation to the general liability, professional liability, and employee benefits liability, we obtained 2 quotes. The first one is with Metro. Metro has been insuring the hospital for many years. They have an A++ rating, which is the highest on the market. They will provide the same coverage except for one item. They made a business decision not to include cyber liability in their packet this year. And so we do have a standalone quote for your approval on the agenda. Their coverage is the same. Prior cost was $61,533. There is a $56 increase. So going with MedPro, it will be $61,477 for the year. The second quote is with a company called Texas Hospital Insurance Exchange. They are a private state-run carrier. Headquarters is in Texas, but they do cover the Oklahoma region. Coverage is identical to MedPro. However, there are some risks going with them. You have to sign a subscription agreement and be vested in their company. Profit sharing is available, but also sharing in the losses as well. So our agent recommends that we continue our relationship with MedPro.
Okay. How often, you said the one thing that they get the cyber, how often is that typically utilized within a hospital setting as a benefit?
Cyber with MedPro? Or-
Yeah, with any insurance.
Yeah, so cyber is very important to have. There's been an increase in hospital cyber attacks, so it's very important that we have that for adequate protection.
So maybe I misunderstood. Was that something that was removed from this policy or added?
Removed, I'm sorry. It is removed.
And it's important to have?
Yes.
That's a standalone, that's why there's a standalone policy on the next item, meaning that there's an additional policy specifically
From
just
cyber
for
liability.
cyber.
How much was our current cost last year for the policy, same policy?
It is $61,533. So this year is $56 less. Yes.
Okay, I thought you said
But-
more as well.
Sorry.
But we're removing cyber from the current policy, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm. And we have seen a trend that professional and general liability has increased this year across the board. So it is a 10,000, even though it is $56 less compared to last year. This year without cyber, it's still 61,477.
Okay.
I'd make a motion to approve, is it Medco?
Item 11,
MedPro?
MedPro, sorry.
Yeah.
I'd make a motion to approve MedPro.
I will second that motion. If we could call for a vote, please.
High school,
yes.
Van Zant,
Yes.
Hopper. Yes. Webb.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to item number 12, discussion and possible action to approve cyber liability policy.
Yes, so previously mentioned, the hospital will need to obtain a cyber liability coverage policy. The agent was able to provide 3 comparable quotes. In reviewing the coverage, it appears that Coalition provides additional coverage, and from a cost standpoint, it is the cheaper. And so we do recommend going with Coalition. All 3 have the same financial strength rating. And it will be a new cost at $12,536.62.
How much protection do they provide?
Yeah, for breach, it's about $1 million with $10,000 deduction. And then cyber is $1 million as well.
Okay, what's the difference between breach and cyber?
Yeah, so breach is more of HIPAA protected. The data is attack. There's an attack of data. Cyber is more of security,
Okay.
information technology, security.
So, okay.
Since we're using a whole lot of electronic health information, data transporting from point A to point B, we have to have it,
Yes.
all of it.
And I appreciate that on y'all's proposals, that you have comparable quotes from 3 companies, and that we get that much detail. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve item number 12 for the cyber liability insurance policy.
Perfect. I would like to second that motion.
High school,
Yes?
Van Zant,
Yes.
Hopper,
Yes.
Webb.
Yes.
Can I go back to financials for a second?
You can do whatever you want.
Okay. Under the statement of revenue and expense trend unaudited, under other for January, we list $14,963. In February, we're listing $25,844. Why are we doubling $9,000 more in general other expense? This right here. No, no, no,
Don't
you're fine,
apologize.
you're fine.
Let us have the little one.
He's like, I've got snacks, I'm not going
I
nowhere.
was gonna say, I'll sit with
So
him.
on
Right.
other,
I
right
like snacks
here,
too.
we were at 14,963.
It's a lot more low-key when we
And
have
then
kids,
the
y'all.
next month, we're at 25,844 for other.
Other is, that's not before we can do it. It's, that jump would be for legal fees incurred.
For which legal fees?
Donors, there was more activity between those 2 months.
Okay, when he came down, is that what we're?
I'm sure it's about the litigation that are going on currently with our cases being local.
Yeah, but
This was
when
the
we
time
just
frame.
listed $9,000 in increases, it just listed as other, just seems
Okay.
strange.
Would you like it listed as legal fees or separate? Normally.
I mean, I would, personally, I would list, like, legal fees separately in some manner. I mean, I don't know what the rest of the board thinks, but it just, like,
Probably
hops out.
cleaner. It's probably cleaner.
schedule.
Well, I mean, that way we can, like, see, because then it gets into, okay, are we paying down past due legal fees, or are we doing current, like, we don't know what that other is. And then we're also seeing a $721 jump in January for meals and travels to $1,537. So we're doubling our meals and travel for February.
Yes,
Is there like a big dramatic reason?
that is related to RHC coverage.
Okay.
And if it's beneficial, the AP aging schedule,
Have a moment.
reflects a 3-month trend. So for any of the legal entity, vendors, you can kind of just see how it's trending from month to month.
Yeah. Yeah, that way we could go back and say, okay, it costs this month to have the attorney drive down from Tulsa. Like if we paid $9,000 to have him here, then maybe we don't need him here for next month or for a few months and Zoom call with him or something, But anyways. Okay, sorry, those things just popped out at me.
Excellent question.
Yeah.
We're all gonna get copies of those, right? Is that what we decided?
I think so. I think we need to.
I don't know where it actually landed. I've heard 2 different options of getting a copy or having it uploaded, so I don't know where it actually landed.
Whatever you guys want.
I'll take either, I just would
Yeah.
like a copy in some way.
is it on there yet, though? Was it on there?
No.
The financials that we got.
Financials, yeah.
Did you say you got an email with them?
I think so, yeah, I
Can you
did,
just email that to us?
yes.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Moving on to item number 13, discussion and possible action to approve directors and officers' liability and employees' practice liability insurance.
Okay, so this policy is expiring in April as well. We received 2 quotes. The first one is with Allied World. We've been insured through Allied World for a couple years now. Second one is with CNA Insurance. Both are comparable in coverage. The price is a little bit lower with CNA. However, our agent mentioned that usually CNA will provide on the first year a lower rate, but they spike up the premium the second year and ongoing. So they recommend that we continue services with Allied World.
Could we not then do the first year with them and then go back to the other?
So we mentioned that, and they said that most likely Allied World will not accept us, or it'll be hard to get another quote.
Once you drop them,
Mhm.
that's it.
I mean, we're not talking pennies. we're talking $12,000. And their coverage looks a little even better than Allied.
Where are we covered as board members under this insurance?
The board, yes, directors and officers liability,
So that would cover
That's us.
yes.
the
that's
board?
board's.
Okay.
That's us.
Yeah, board's
Okay.
decisions.
And, I'm sorry, how much amount are we covering
1
each
million.
instance?
Yes, 1 million.
Page 92, item 13.
Is that standard practice?
Yes,
The
and we
malpractice.
make the switch, it's really hard.
Yes, especially a nonprofit and in the debt,
But so,
that is normal.
I guess my struggle with that is I know people, I shop for car insurance every 2 years regardless of, and I leave companies all the time. I think in my lifetime, I've had 6 car insurance companies, and all because I have a lot of accidents, but when I go in the shop, I can find a better rate. That just doesn't logically make sense to me.
I guess,
The difference is that there's not a large pool to find hospital coverage out there in that big world, because we are a large, huge liability. I don't run hospitals, but I run lots of practices, there's hundreds in the Midwest. And number one, if you drop or you get dropped to get back, picked back up, good luck. And our ratings, clearly, credit-wise, and all the other ratings that are being used to get quotes, if you were to look through the package, there's even listed who all declined coverage and why, et cetera. This report pack is one of the most detailed I've ever seen, and I have to admit, well done, because again, the reasons why are really documented and listed. And again, the pool in healthcare on hospitals to get coverage is not like we're looking for a car insurance or motorcycle
Well,
insurance.
And I understand that, but I go back to, they're in the business to make money as well.
but,
Um,
I'm sorry, I'm super confused as to why an insurance company, like, I shop my insurance every year, I've been with them for my every time. But, I mean, I've highly specialized insurance, I still shop my price every year. So if I dropped my insurance, like, we're not signing a 5-year deal, right?
Correct.
We're signing a
One
1-year
year.
deal, so
Yes.
why would Allied care if we went with CNA and then shopped the price again? They would want our business, right, next year.
And it's true.
So what's this confusion of they may not cover us next year?
And there's nothing said that that is truly the case, right?
So when rates are pulled, like Ms. Olga mentioned, they do check on how often you change carriers. So that does impact a carrier.
Price.
So what's our current rate? What's our, and when we talk about, we're talking about somebody, a couple times you've mentioned, like, do we have a broker for our insurance that's
Yes.
recommending?
Yes, we work with Oklahoma Hospital Association.
Okay. And,
It's the specialists who are giving us the rates, who are giving us the expert advice that we are paying for.
well, no, I mean, I
That's
have the
where
same thing.
our
I mean, I have,
things come from.
that's pretty common, but this sounds really weird.
And
Because
And-
unless
and
we're
it-
looking at having a major, unless you're gonna say, hey, listen, we expect to have 10 to 15 claims next year, like, are we having, is Allied providing us a rider on the insurance?
I will have to look into that.
But like,
And are we, I get it, if somebody drops us from the number of claims, that we would be a much more difficult sell. But I guess I'm with Carson on this. I can't wrap my head around the fact that if this is the way that business is done in this area, and somebody shoots you a low thing with the expectation it's gonna go up, do we expect that it's gonna go up twice what we're paying with Allied? And how do we know that?
Right, it's on so,
But so is there anything for next year saying, is Allied giving us a rider that says the price next year, if you sign in 2023, for 2024, we will guarantee the same price?
no, because we don't know about the.
So
price.
So
they
their
could-
price could go up too.
Their
Yeah,
price
the
could double too.
Mhm, yes. It
So
expires
why would we go with Allied over CNA?
Because two other companies declined due to the hospital's financials.
Correct.
And then, Allied has partnered with the hospital for many years, so we have that relationship with them in the event there are claims. And then, CNA, they trend to spike up next year as well. The policy expires on April 21st, and so I think that's gonna be before the board meeting. We can extend for another month and try to get another quote.
It's not to me about another quote. I just maybe, and I'm educated in this type of scenario. And maybe what you guys are telling me is absolutely 100% fact. I didn't, in my head, that's not an experience that I deal with on a daily basis. And I get everybody's opinion, everyone's levels, but I feel like I need to, at least on my perspective, understand that to be the true course of business in a hospital setting. I mean, you guys can make a motion and vote on it. I would tell you, for me today, I would personally go with the cheaper version and chance the fact that even if they did double it, it's still less than what we're paying without that.
Yes,
So-
yes, I received written confirmation from our agent that, Allied World, will probably not accept us back in the event, because we already
But
declined
but
it.
I get that, but even if it were
Whoa,
double,
whoa,
That is the way
whoa.
business is done, y'all.
but
But like,
even if.
whoa.
It is how it is.
Okay, like, I'm sorry, but I'm a licensed insurance agent. Like, I've been through a lot of insurance deals and stuff like that. I mean, I'm not.
Reality is, people who use insurance, et cetera, what have you, do get blackballed. I have clients who have
But-
used policies.
Which may be the case.
That is true, but again, you're using the word that these are opinions. I cannot speak for Ms. G.
I didn't
can
say
speak
that.
For me, that I have 30 years in healthcare, and the reality is that unfortunately, even so, it may not sound logical or proper, but that is actually how it is.
Which absolutely may be the case.
And
I
we
don't have
1
enough
month.
information, but even by your account, what you're telling me is that the odds are they'll double it. Even if they double it, it's still, the double is less than what we're paying with Allied.
Yes.
Yes.
So even if they were to double it, and that's what we're going to pay, it's still less than Allied, and it's actually, from what I can see, at least on the fourth portion, has a higher payable liability. I mean, they pay higher, start at 35,000, or I think it was 35,000 to $1 million.
Okay. I just feel like there's some piece of information that I'm missing in this, and I just really feel like I'm missing something, like riders, or like, why is it double the price, but yet the broker is still recommending it? Like, what am I missing in this equation? Because we're missing a whole section here.
Okay. Yeah, so compared to last year, it did increase, and, that's just based on the market these days.
But no, you're giving us double the price. And so typically when there's double the price, there's other riders added in that are giving us extra things that we're not being made aware of.
What was the premium last year?
Premium last year was $15.
How many claims did we have on that? Do we know?
No, I do not know. From my knowledge, I don't think we have any.
I don't think we have any.
Yeah.
to Carson's point, there's no difference in the policies themselves. The two policies are identical, no extra riders, no extra anything in Allied as opposed to the other. The policies themselves, and are there a different rating with regards to the two? Like,
No, they're identical.
so there is no difference other than the price. That is the
Yes.
only difference, and we have had a long-time relationship with Allied.
Yes.
But there's nothing, no rider saying we will guarantee you coverage in 2024.
No.
Do we?
Okay,
did-
what are the other talk to me about within the scope of Cohesive. What other insurance companies are you guys using?
Yes, Carnegie, one of our other hospitals, is using Allied World as well.
Okay,
Does any of the other hospitals within your purview, do they use any other than Allied?
Yes. We do use Chubb, which is declined.
Okay. Has any of your hospitals used the second version, the CNA?
No, they do not use CNA.
well, here, we're not supposed to, I got in trouble for us quietly talking, so.
So then, when we visited with the broker, the one that managed to get these two options for us, during that discussion, the only reason for his recommendation is that the other one will probably double next year. And if we chose to go back to Allied, they'd probably refuse to accept us.
And not only that, but two other companies declined us, so it'll be hard to get another policy coverage for this section.
But even if they doubled,
It's still less.
it's still less. Is there something, if your recommendation is to go with Allied, what's the motivation behind that?
We have a relationship with them. If, in the event of a claim.
Have
the-
you guys had claims at other hospitals with great success?
No, we didn't. We do not have any claims for DNO at our other facilities as well. But Allied World does insure one of our other facilities.
What are your other, what's Pahuska using?
Chubb, and it's been declined here.
Yeah, they're the ones who declined us.
Yes.
Okay.
Are we still discussing? Where are we all at?
At this time, we do not have a motion on the table.
I'll make a motion to approve, the motion to accept the quote as it's written from the established company that we've had a relationship with for all of these years.
So is your motion for
To
Allied?
accept,
Allied,
yeah, the proposed one.
is Allied,
Well, but on the.
We are at which point? What number
Sure.
are we at?
We're at number 13.
All right, 13. I will go with the Allied.
do we have a second?
I'll second it so we can vote. That's what we
High school,
Yes.
Van Zant,
sorry, I gotta vote no.
Papa?
I think we might need to try the other one as well. So I guess no.
Webb?
I just don't, I'm gonna vote no.
Can we at this time make an additional motion and pick up the other one so a decision can be made since it is due in April?
Let's do like April 21st, right?
You know what I mean? So can we do an additional motion to that point and then say, I hereby propose to then take CNA insurance for that motion?
Yeah, I mean,
'Cause
it's
we need
still
to
on the
make a
table.
decision,
Yeah.
you
It's
know
still
what
on
I
the
mean?
table,
So
so.
that's why I'm saying we can do it both ways right then and get it done.
I mean, just, don't mind doing that, but as
That's
part of
fine.
the discussion, for me, I'll vote yes on that, but I would like some education with regards to the other stuff to make sure I'm making an educated decision.
What
If
do
that
you
truly is
propose?
the,
What do you propose of doing with a decision that is due tonight?
so my understanding, and you correct me if I'm wrong, we could renew it for one more month and then come back to the table in April.
Yes, we can extend it.
I'm sorry, what page do we have?
92?
No, my apologies. What page do we have the actual policy for CNA?
So it's not included, it's in the summary sheet instead.
It's just a little summary sheet.
So we don't, I mean, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna vote no. Just because we don't know what the policy is, so we don't know if you're being covered, I'm being covered, or Elka's being covered, because we don't know what that policy actually covers in this packet.
And Elka, to the point, what she's saying is that they can renew it for one more month, and we can come back to the table.
What is your expectation during that 1 month so we're not hitting the same spot?
I'm gonna make some
again
calls.
next month?
I'm gonna make some calls.
So,
I would just like to see the policy itself and see what it covers to compare to at least Ally, because in good faith, I don't wanna vote for an $11,062 policy and find out later that we as the board are not covered.
Or it's covered by one
coulda, woulda,
instance.
shoulda?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, like, I mean, in good conscience, like,
Cause I think there's something, to me, there's something tremendously different about the two.
yeah, I mean.
That's a big amount.
Now, like, maybe CNA insurance is horrible insurance that no other hospital will carry, you know, and so why?
Yeah.
You know, there's gotta be some big problem here that we're not seeing, because typically insurances,
There's
like-
not usually that huge of a gap.
yeah, like, I mean, unless you're going from like a really good insurance to like, you know, someone that you don't know.
My apology for not including it. It was 88 pages, so my apology for not
Yeah.
including that policy.
But I mean, even this, like, on here, we have the endorsements, 1 through 24, like, well, like, we have a general breakdown here. And I mean, we don't have to print it, but we could upload it, that we can look at it. Because like, I mean, even this has like a bankruptcy exclusion, you know, like it covers part of bankruptcy, like if we had to file for bankruptcy and some of
So
these
the
things like
hospital
that.
would have to file for bankruptcy.
No, but I'm saying it's covered within the insurance.
Well, yeah, it should be.
Yeah,
We are an extension of the municipality of the city.
no, but I'm saying that's pretty cool. Like, I've never seen that within an insurance policy. Yeah. Anyways, so I'm gonna make a motion that we, No,
I mean,
we
we've
need to
already,
make-
we've already voted unless there's another motion on the floor.
We could do an additional motion to it to extend for 1 month,
But I think that's understood.
but we haven't made that decision official, have we?
Well, but
Because it's going past the date of 4/21, which is the date of current one.
so I don't know.
That's the issue. We have to have something decided
Couldn't
to
we have a meeting
extend
before?
that coverage.
I wish we had our attorney here.
I actually am texting him right now. Do you wanna ask him something?
Yeah, ask him if we need a motion to extend it a month, or it's understood that it's extended. I feel like it's similar to most other things within city government. It's understood unless it's provided a specific, like, deadline. But, I mean, it's automatically rolled over in city governments. So
That's why we generally have an attorney present.
Tonight would be, we don't ever asking questions, so tonight would be the night we need questions.
There'll be a lot, I'm sure. Mark, are you filling in here? What's your legal advice here?
Mr. Kendall?
Yes,
Hey, I have you on speaker and we have a question for you.
for the record, I've been cleared to provide any legal advice yet.
Okay. Corey?
Yeah.
Okay, this will be really quick. So there's some questions we have concerning directors and officers' liability and employee practice liability insurance policy. It was voted down for the first one. The second one, we're all a little skeptical on that. If we voted the first one down and we do nothing, they're telling us that they can extend it one more month. Do they need a vote from the board to extend it one more month, or is that just naturally going to happen?
I think it's naturally gonna happen.
Okay.
Okay, that's the way I understood it. Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, thanks.
That was
All
my
right,
understanding.
Ms. Chief, we need that month.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I wanna say, it's nothing, I just, when you see such a big difference in things, typically you can see a difference, but when it's such a big difference, in my head, I'm thinking there's something that we're not getting, and maybe that CNA is just a lousy insurance company, and I'm on the web, aren't I? I don't know. But maybe they're great. I don't.
All
Catch
right,
myself.
moving on.
Well, we've lost our.
I was gonna say, I don't know if we're going anywhere just yet.
He said it would just naturally
Roll into,
renew.
so we don't have to have a motion for that 30 days rolling over. But Ms. G now knows we can get it for 30 more days. And we'll add it back on to next month's.
So we're gonna table it?
Well, no, it's
Well,
actually
that's
been
the new
voted on.
part, right?
Okay.
Yes. So it wasn't tabled, we voted and it was denied, but then we'll add it back on to the next one.
With more information about
Yes.
the
Okay.
CNAs.
I'll tell you, my least favorite thing is insurance, I'm just telling you.
Okay, moving on to item number 14, discussion possible action to property insurance policy.
Right, so this policy is expiring on May 1st instead of April 21, but the agent was able to provide an alternate quote for us. They checked 7 or 8 other markets and they all declined, so we only got one quote back, and that's with the existing carrier, Philadelphia. This covers property for the hospital, the lab modular building, and also the clinic. There is an increase of $2,378 compared to last year's annual premium. So the new premium would be $25,945.
Just, did we have any claims on the previous?
No, no claims.
I'd make a motion to approve.
I'll second that motion.
Haskell?
Yes.
Manzan?
Yes.
Hopper?
Yes.
Webb?
Yes.
Okay. Moving on to item number 15, discussion in action to approve trios agreement?
Yes, Trios. This is an agreement between Trios and also our hospital as well as the GPO third party. This is a cost savings agreement actually for shipping and third party freight services, potentially $14,000 in savings.
Can you explain that? How does that exactly work with that quote-unquote savings when it comes to freight?
Yes, so in the event the hospital orders cleaning supplies
Okay?
through, that is connected through our GPO, all the shipping costs will be saved.
Okay.
So we just basically pay like a one-time Amazon fee and we get our 2-day shipping for free.
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
prime. Uh-huh.
For how long?
Until the contract terminates, it's auto renewal, the master agreement.
It shows 3
GPO.
years, June 1st, 2022 through May 31st, 2025, page 133, item 15.
Yes.
Okay, when it
Yeah.
says 150 users, what does that mean?
Are you looking at the Tiger Connect or?
What are you?
I may be on
think
the wrong
that's Tiger
thing. I'm
Connect, yeah.
What page
Oh.
are you on? Bottom right, what page?
on 134, 135.
I hate
Trials,
this up here.
yeah.
I have a question. So guys, is this agreement similar to that of a city government? You can't enter a contract in more than 1 year?
No, we've had ones
Okay.
that have more than 1 year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you get price break, blah, blah.
Right, right.
But where's the price?
It's, where did I see it?
Look on page 132, on the first.
130.
It's the tiers, and we would be the local tier 5, I believe, if I read that correctly.
That's correct.
Earlier. So if you read the program through, this will entitle us to automatically jump onto tier 5, which quote unquote is tier local, so it's all included is how I read that. When you look at through the little letters.
I saw a price somewhere, Carson, hang on. And maybe I looked at it, what is, because on the vendor sheet where you typically have the cost, I don't see it.
It's a
Is it that 14?
savings. It's talking about the savings that it will bring with us signing this contract. It makes us part of that big group, which entitles us then to jump immediately to tier number 5.
So there's no cost? Okay.
Correct,
So the 0 was correct? Okay.
correct. It's like Prime in a way, because we're a member of the GSO. This is part of it. We just have to sign that it's part of it.
Why would anybody do this?
That's
Why would anybody do this?
because you don't pay freight.
You talking about the shipper?
Yeah, why is the shipper doing this? I mean,
Because they get more clients by signing up with a DSO, which that gives them more hospitals, which gives you more business, which gives you more continuous cash flow by having more sources.
but we just went through a freight crisis where the freight spiked. I'm just trying to, what,
This is a contract, so we don't have to pay for freight. That's it.
At 0 cost?
Correct. It's just
Why?
a formality to add
Like-
this on to the benefits we're
Like,
getting by new members.
of members of what? Like I'm,
Yes, so, we have a master contract with our GPO.
okay,
Alliance.
I'm sorry, what is GPO?
That's our group purchasing order.
Okay, so when Daniel needs gloves, he goes through the GPO, right? Okay, and then what they're saying is, we're just gonna give you free freight.
Correct.
Just to agree to go through this?
Okay, just to
Yes.
lock you in.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm sorry, I was just trying to figure out why some freight company is willing to just deliver us from whatever, and I'm like, where do I
It's an
sign?
additional benefit to the group.
Okay. Okay, cool.
I'd make a motion to approve Trios's agreement.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, any further discussion needed? Then
Not
call
for
for a
me.
vote.
High school,
Yes.
Van Zandt,
Yes.
Hopper,
Yes.
Webb,
Yes.
Okay, moving on to discussion and possible action to approve Tiger Connect order form agreement.
Okay, so for Tiger Connect, they provide a secure HIPAA compliant messaging communication platform that works through our phones and also our computers. So from an emergency preparedness standpoint, it's important to get contracted with a platform like Tiger Connect. In the event there's like a natural disaster, we can have communication within the hospital immediately. And not only that, but Tiger Connect also improves communication between providers to improve patient care. And so from federal law and federal regulations, covered entities are allowed to text protected health information. However, covered entities need to have a secure platform in place, and Tiger Connect offers that solution. This would be a new vendor for the hospital. From a cost-saving standpoint, Cohesive Corporate will be entering into the contract, and so that cost will be split between 5 of our hospitals, making for the first year, one user, it'll be $10.72, and then second year, it'll just be $10 going forward. We do not anticipate more than 60 licenses.
Per hospital?
Yes, per hospital.
All right, so basically what we're looking at is 1072 per person, up to 60
Yes.
users within our facility.
Yes.
And then the second year, it drops it down to $10 per user, up to 60
Yes, that is correct.
within our facility.
And are the licenses interchangeable, meaning if person A leaves the company, person B can then take over their license, or does it have to be a brand new license?
So we can definitely reassign.
Okay.
What do you think about this game? I think it's absolutely necessary.
Communication, instant.
You know, enhance patient care, communication is key to patient care.
So if I'm getting an X-ray, you can immediately text him with the radio tag, take it in there, did the X-ray.
And so much more. Okay, good question.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the Tiger Connect contract. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion, but I want some further discussion.
Cool.
So with regards to the license, how would we know how many licenses are that here in Mangum as opposed to somewhere else? And would there be a situation where we filled up our 60 and we needed 4 more? Would we be able to grab those 4 more, and would somebody be able to grab from us? And in the event that that would happen, are the funds, is it set up in a way that it could come out just so that we can identify these are the names associated with these users?
Yes, absolutely. We will be taking an inventory of all users.
And then
And-
you could pull it by facility, I'm sure.
Yes,
And be able to, at our request, be able to provide that?
absolutely.
That's all, because when you're doing with a big group of people, you want to make sure you're paying for yours and.
Look, accountability
Yeah.
matters. Look.
But I don't know if you answered the first part. What if we needed 4 more licenses because of our demand down here, and say Carnegie wasn't using all, could we use those?
Yes, the corporate contract has 150 licenses.
So we,
have enough.
so we could use whatever we need?
Yes.
Who are we partnering with? What other hospitals?
All of our 5 managed hospitals.
So out of 150, we are being reserved 60?
Max, yes.
Okay. And we'll just be in charge the ones that we're using actually, or?
Yes.
So if we're only using 52 and there's 8 not in use, even though we were maxed out at 60, we're only gonna get charged for 52?
Correct, yes.
I think I second. Did I?
You did, yes.
Okay.
But you wanted more discussion?
Yeah, well, but I got my, I was, as I was thinking, so, okay.
High school?
Yes.
Van Zant?
Yes.
Hopper,
Yes.
Webb,
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
that's a reality.
Moving on to item number 17, discussion and possible action to approve Greer County Health Department TV X-ray agreement.
What you have before you is a long-standing agreement, a renewal of such for MRMC to shoot the chest x-rays for those patients at the Greer County Health Department that maybe they have a positive protein derivative reaction. And, we'll do those for $30. We don't have to read them, just shoot them and send them to them.
Excellent.
How many times do you guys have to do TV
Very
tests?
minimal.
Okay.
Very minimal.
That's a good thing.
It is a good thing. Pretty well eradicated in this country.
Yes.
But you still
Except for
get
in
those
prison.
flare-ups,
Yes.
like myself. I've had so many of those PPDs done, I think my body is developing a reaction. So I have to get an X-ray routine.
Gotcha.
Mm.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion needed?
High School,
Yes.
Van Zandt,
Yeah.
Hopper,
Yes.
Webb,
Yes.
Thank you.
Item number 18, discussion and possible action not to renew the compliance team agreement.
Yes, so the compliance team, they are a third-party accredited rural health clinic licensed surveyor. The hospital contracted with this group about 3 years ago when we were in the process of getting the clinic designated for RHC license. And so the 3-year term is coming up in May. They sent us a renewal, and we are asking that we not renew this invoice for another 3 years, and to have the state provide the service at free of no charge. And so this will be a cost savings at $2,200 per year, but for the 3-year term, it'll be $6,600 cost savings.
So what I heard you say is that we can get the same service at no charge through the state, and in addition, we will save a total of $6,600. All right.
Correct.
What was the benefit in the first place to have
To
ever
get
utilized?
past.
Yes,
To
so
get our license.
it was a clinic that needed RHC designation from.
The
from-
state.
Yeah, from the
We
state.
needed that classification, and it went through having to go through all sorts of hoops to be compliant, not just regarding legalese and setups and forms and this and that. So they used this consulting group to help us get to that level, come on site, set it up, get all these, approvals and la-di-da. So now it's all in place. And now we're just basically, I guess, maintaining, and whatever questions there will be, the state offers that same service once you're established at no charge. I'll make that motion.
There you go. I will
We're
second.
saving butts.
I'd like to second that motion.
All right.
High School,
Yes.
Van Zandt,
Yes.
Hopper,
Yes.
Webb,
Yes.
Moving on to item number 19, discuss and possible action to terminate NQ Docs and NQ Seek agreement.
And so this is a contract termination request, in line with the clinic. As discussed earlier, 3 years ago, we contracted with NQZ. They are a consulting company. The clinic has its RHC designation already, so we no longer need that consulting service from them. However, within the same agreement, there is a software cloud-based platform for policy management that we're paying at $75 per month. We reviewed that this service is no longer needed from NQC, and we recommend terminating. It'll be a cost savings of $75 per month, but $900 per year.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Call for a vote, please.
High School,
Yes.
Van Zandt,
Yes.
Hopper,
Yes.
Webb,
Yes.
Okay, moving on to item number 20. It doesn't look like we have any privileges to go over.
There's actually a slight adjustment I laid before you, the amendment for Dr. Chapatelli's agreement. I thought it was gonna be added to that, but it wasn't. And basically, to sum it up, it's, regarding his travel expense being paid commensurate with the IRS guidelines. Travel reimbursement.
So I don't think we can vote on this.
No.
Not if it's not listed.
I thought Cindy didn't get with you about that one,
No. And because you just pointed out, Ronnie, this one that, where it's about medical staff privileges, credentials, and contracts, and it would have had to be listed under it
Okay.
in order for us to be able to. However, we might be able to mark it for next month.
Okay.
Is it something that's of higher need, like it's emergency?
I wouldn't say so.
Okay.
If it is,
Travel
I'll contact you
expense.
guys and we'll do it that way. I'm doing so.
Did you want this back?
I'll let you hold on to it. I was told to give it to y'all, so I did my part.
Item
He's
number
washed his hands.
22. Can we move into executive session without an
Item
attorney?
number 22, I believe, needs to be pulled because on item number 22, it shows OS that is non-existent. It shows let's see, it reads, discussion and possible action, la-di-da, in accordance with 12 Loma Statute 307B1. There is no 12 OS 307B1. That seems to be a technical oops, and therefore we have to pull item 22 because it should have been reading 21 OS
But I would
311.
actually state that I think that's a Scribner's error.
In the past, this is exactly how we have handled it, and coming from you, especially who had said over the last couple of months you didn't have any information nor that we are the letter off. Fact of the matter is, item 22 is not proper. It does not list the proper reason as to going into session, which would have been a 25 OS 307. If we can check with legal, I checked with him prior to our meeting and pointed out that this was incorrect and therefore we cannot address.
That was his advice to you?
We're welcome to call back or
Well,
Miss-
I'm asking.
No,
was-
let me defer to Ms. Irma.
He said he put the wording incorrect and we couldn't use it. He called earlier and texted about it earlier. He said he put the wrong number.
All right, on to staff board.
Yeah, so I'd like to make a remark then with regards to, just to comment on what you said. The philosophy behind that was there was stuff that was placed on before and discussions that were had outside of the realms of either an executive session or with amongst the, and so that was what was problematic to me.
Again, I'm not sure who you're addressing.
I'm addressing
regarding point
everybody in the,
22
well, yeah, but I'm allowed to make remarks.
about
Your statement with regards to something I previously stated.
just now that I stated
Yeah,
that
you,
it's improper
no,
to
no, no,
use?
you said with respects to what I said at a previous meeting 2 meetings ago. I was
Correct.
trying to clarify that information.
Okay.
That what I was trying to clarify is there was a bunch of information that was just a sentence or a phrase that we had no backup as to. I don't have any backup as to this because I'm not privy to the conversations that were had.
What conversations? I'm not sure I'm even aware of what you're talking about.
Okay. I'll ask Corey to put that on.
Next.
Does the gallery have any comments?
No comments, just to clarify, we moved item 4 and
9, I believe it was.
so
9.
those policies are not approved at this point.
We don't have dates.
Because
They're
there-
X's.
There's X's.
All right, thank you.
Oh, I've got her financials she needs back. You guys need copies of this?
And I
Did you run-
emailed it.
Oh, you emailed it, that's right, never mind, I'm sorry.
So we're tabling the 4
I don't
and
know if
9.
she needs it.
Until the next meeting,
Yes.
you get the dates added to it.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it's just, here it just says 3XX2003, or
On
two.
the agenda itself.
And I believe you're the one that said that you don't have dates yet.
Well, if they're,
Hasn't happened yet.
no,
Okay.
I don't have it with me.
See what I'm talking about?
It's on the agenda for it's under number 9, when you get down to the dates.
Yeah, I see that there. We'll get those just. Thank you.
Okay. Does any board member have any remarks? City administrator, city attorney, or any hospital employees?
Just again, just thank you, and those reports, thank you, and the comparisons. They make our job easier.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any new business that could not have been reasonably foreseen at this time before posting the agenda? Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second.
Heisel?
Yes.
Van Zandt?
Yes.
Hopper?
Yes.
Webb?
Yes.
Yeah, he said